Jake Morrison stood in the medical bay of the flagship UHS Vengeance, watching Dr. Brooks work on Maya Singh. The young woman had been dying when they found her, but human medical technology was bringing her back to life. "She's going to make it," Dr. Brooks said with tears in her eyes. "They're all going to make it." Around the room, other survivors from New Haven were getting treatment. People who had lived on cold soup and dirty water for 3 years were eating real food again. Children who had almost forgotten how to smile were laughing. Admiral Kate Mitchell walked into the medical bay. She was a tall woman with gray hair and hard eyes, but when she looked at the survivors, her expression softened. "Captain Morrison," she said to Jake, "I need to speak with you." They walked to a private room where Admiral Mitchell sat down across from Jake. "Your people have been through hell," she said. "But they've given us something precious. Information." "What kind of information?" "Maya's computer records, her analysis of bug communications, the way they think, how they fight, what they're afraid of." The Admiral leaned forward. "We've learned more about the Kitherans in the past week than we knew in 3 years of war." Jake thought about Maya, barely alive but still working on her computer until the very end. She never gave up. None of them did. "That's why we're going to win this war. The bugs thought they broke humanity on New Haven. Instead, they made us stronger." Over the next few days, Jake learned about the scope of the human response. Ships from 23 worlds had come to save fewer than 300 survivors. It was the largest rescue mission in human history, but it was also the beginning of something bigger. Sam Torres was working in the communications center, his skills finally being used properly. He was coordinating with survivor groups on 17 other worlds that the bugs had attacked. "Captain Morrison," Sam called out, "you need to hear this." Jake listened to a radio message from a planet called Freedom's End. The survivors there had heard about New Haven. They were inspired by the story. They were fighting back instead of hiding. "It's happening everywhere," Sam said. "The word is spreading. People who had given up hope are picking up weapons again." Dr. Brooks found Jake in the ship's observatory, looking out at the stars. She sat down beside him. "How are you holding up?" she asked. "I keep thinking about the ones we lost. Ben Carter, Maya's parents, old Pete Walsh." "Pete's not dead," Dr. Brooks said with a smile. "He's down in engineering, arguing with the crew about mining equipment. Says these young folks don't know how to dig proper holes." Jake laughed for the first time in months. "That sounds like Pete. He wants to go back to New Haven when this is over. Help rebuild it." "What about you? What do you want to do?" Dr. Brooks looked out at the stars. "There are hurt people on other worlds. People who need medical help. I think I'll go where I'm needed most." Maya Singh had recovered enough to leave her bed. She was working with the ship's computer experts, sharing everything she'd learned about bug technology. "Their communication systems have a weakness," she explained to the engineers. "If we can jam the right frequencies, we can blind their whole fleet." A young officer raised his hand. "How did you figure that out?" Maya smiled. "I had 3 years to study their signals, and I had nothing else to do except learn." General Ryan, Cooper was planning the next phase of operations. The rescue mission had become a full military campaign. Human forces were moving to liberate every world the bugs had conquered. "The pattern is the same everywhere," he explained to his staff officers. "The bugs strip away resources and kill the population, but they always leave a few survivors. They think it doesn't matter." Captain Lisa Thompson spoke up from the back of the room. "They were wrong." "Yes, they were. Those survivors are our intelligence network. They know every bug position, every weakness. They're going to help us win this war." Admiral Mitchell called a meeting of all the senior officers. She had news from Earth and the other human worlds. "The Council of Worlds has made a decision," she announced. "This is no longer just a rescue mission. This is a war of liberation. We're not stopping until every human world is free." Jake Morrison was given a choice. He could return to civilian life, help rebuild New Haven, and try to forget the past 3 years. Or he could join the Human Defense Force and help save survivors on other worlds. "I've seen what these people go through," Jake told Admiral Mitchell. "I've lived it. If my experience can help save lives, then that's what I want to do." "Welcome to the fleet, Colonel Morrison." Maya Singh chose to stay with the military, too. Her knowledge of bug technology was too valuable to waste. She became the youngest intelligence analyst in human history. Sam Torres took a different path. He went back to New Haven with the first wave of colonists. His job was to rebuild the communication networks and send messages to other survivor groups across the galaxy. Dr. Brooks did exactly what Jake expected. She joined the medical corps and went to the next battle zone. Where people were hurt, she would be there to help them. The war lasted 2 more years. Human fleets hunted down bug forces across 17 star systems. Every world the aliens had conquered was liberated. Every human survivor was rescued. The bugs had expected to win easily. Humans were weaker than them, less advanced. But the bugs didn't understand something important about humanity. Humans don't quit. When they're pushed down, they get back up. When their friends are killed, they fight harder. When all hope seems lost, they find a way to keep going. The final bug stronghold fell on a cold Tuesday morning. Admiral Mitchell stood on the bridge of her flagship and accepted their surrender. "It's over," she told her crew. "The war is over." Jake Morrison was there that day. He thought about all the people who hadn't lived to see it. Ben Carter, who died buying time for civilians to escape. Danny Miller, who fought alone against 50 enemies. The 2 million colonists on New Haven who died in the first attacks. They were gone, but they weren't forgotten. A year later, Jake returned to New Haven for a special ceremony. The planet was green again. New cities were being built where the old ones had stood. Children played in parks that had once been battlefields. At the ceremony, they unveiled a monument to the dead. A simple black stone with names carved into it. 2 million names. At the bottom, in larger letters, were these words: "They thought we were broken. They thought we were beaten. They were wrong." Maya Singh, now healthy and strong, gave a speech to the crowd. "We survived because we never gave up hope," she said. "Even when everything seemed lost, we believed that someone would come for us. We believed in each other." The crowd cheered. Many were wiping away tears. After the ceremony, Jake walked through the new city with his old friends. Dr. Brooks had taken leave from her medical duties to attend. Sam Torres showed them the rebuilt communication center. Pete Walsh complained that the new mining equipment wasn't as good as the old stuff. "You know what the best part is?" Pete said as they watched children playing in the street. "What's that?" "Those kids will grow up free. They'll never have to hide in caves or eat cold soup for dinner. They'll never have to wonder if help is coming." Jake nodded. That made everything worthwhile. Elena Vasquez approached them. During the war, she'd been found alive in a bug prison camp. Some people wanted to punish her for trying to negotiate with the enemy. But Jake had spoken for her at the trial. "Thank you," she said to Jake, "for giving me a chance to make things right." Elena now worked with traumatized survivors, helping them recover from their experiences. She understood better than most what fear could do to people. As the sun set over New Haven, Jake stood with his friends and looked up at the stars. Somewhere up there, human ships were patrolling the borders, making sure the bugs never came back. The war was over. Humanity had won, not through superior technology or overwhelming force, but through something the bugs couldn't understand: the refusal to give up. Jake Morrison had been a survivor, hiding in caves and eating scraps. Now he was a hero, honored across the galaxy for his courage. But he knew the truth. The real heroes were the ones who died fighting, the ones who gave up their lives so others could live, the ones who never lived to see victory. He would remember them all. And so would humanity. The bugs had made one final mistake. They'd underestimated what humans would do to protect each other. Now they knew better. Now everyone knew better. Humanity had taken its place among the stars, and nothing would ever drive them out again. Jake Morrison looked up at the night sky and saw something impossible. Stars were moving, hundreds of them, shifting position like fireflies. But these weren't stars. These were ships. The human fleet had arrived. "My God," Sam whispered beside him. "Look at them all." For 3 days, Jake's group had been walking toward Sunset Ridge. They'd lost 30 people along the way. Some died from sickness. Others just couldn't walk anymore and asked to be left behind. Now they stood on a hilltop, watching the biggest space battle they'd ever seen. Human ships and Catharan ships fought among the stars. Explosions lit up the darkness like deadly fireworks. Maya's radio beacon was beeping faster now. They were close to the coordinates. How much further? Jake asked Elena, who was carrying their only working map. Maybe 2 miles. But look. She pointed ahead. The valley below them was full of bug soldiers, hundreds of them, all moving toward the same place Jake's people needed to go. General Ryan Cooper stood in the command center of the assault carrier UHS Retribution. Around him, screens showed the battle raging in space. His marine forces were ready to land. But first they had to break through the bug defenses. "Status report," he called out. "We've taken heavy losses, sir, but we're pushing them back. The orbital guns are almost destroyed." Captain Lisa Thompson was flying her assault shuttle through the enemy fire. Her job was to get to the surface and save the survivors. But she had to reach them first. "Danny, you ready back there?" she called to her passenger. Tech Sergeant Danny Miller checked his weapon and gear. "Ready as I'll ever be. How many survivors are we looking for?" "Intel says maybe 200. They've been walking for days to reach the pickup point." Danny looked out the window at the planet below. It was a wasteland of burned rock and poisoned air. "How did anyone survive down there?" "Humans are tough," Lisa said. "Tougher than the bugs thought." The shuttle shook as enemy fire hit their shields. Lisa pushed the engines harder, diving toward the planet's surface. On the hilltop, Jake watched the bug army moving through the valley. There was no way around them. To reach the pickup point, his people would have to go through the enemy force. "We can't fight them," Elena said. "We have maybe 50 working guns and 100 sick people." "Then we don't fight them," Jake said. "We sneak past them." Pete had taught Jake about these mountains before the old miner stayed behind with Dr. Brooks. There was a narrow canyon that led to Sunset Ridge. The bugs might not know about it. "It's risky," Sam said, looking through his binoculars. "If they spot us in the canyon, we're trapped." "Everything's risky now," Jake replied. "But staying here means dying here." He gathered his people. They looked terrible. Thin faces, dirty clothes, wounds that wouldn't heal, but they were still alive. Still fighting. "Listen to me," Jake said. "Our people are up there. They came all this way to save us. We're not going to let them down." Some people nodded. Others just stared with empty eyes. They were too tired and scared to feel hope. The group started down the hill toward the canyon. They moved slowly, trying not to make noise. Children were carried by adults. Injured people helped each other walk. Halfway down the slope, disaster struck. A woman named Carol slipped on loose rocks. She cried out in pain as she fell. The sound echoed across the valley. Bug soldiers turned toward the noise. Their insect-like heads moved as they tried to locate the source of the sound. "Everyone down," Jake whispered. "Don't move." The survivors pressed themselves against the ground. Jake watched through his rifle scope as bug patrols started climbing the hill toward them. In space, the battle was reaching its peak. Admiral Kate Mitchell watched from the bridge of her flagship as human ships surrounded the last bug defense stations. "All units, concentrate fire on Target 7, she ordered. Hundreds of human weapons fired at once. The bug station exploded in a ball of fire. The way to the planet was now clear. "General Cooper, you are cleared for landing operations." Ryan Cooper smiled grimly. "Roger that, Admiral. Marines are going in." Down on the surface, Jake's group was in serious trouble. The bug patrol was getting closer. In minutes, they would be discovered. Danny Miller's shuttle was the first to break through the atmosphere. The landing zone was supposed to be clear, but his sensors showed enemy forces everywhere. "Change of plans," he told Lisa. "Drop me here. I'll fight my way to the survivors." "That's suicide, Danny." "Maybe, but it's the only chance those people have." Lisa set the shuttle down on a rocky plateau. Danny grabbed his weapons and gear. "Give me 30 minutes, then come back for pickup." "Good luck, Sergeant." Danny jumped out, and the shuttle flew away. He was alone on a hostile planet facing impossible odds. But he'd been a Marine for 15 years. This was what he trained. For Jake saw the human soldier running down the hillside toward the bug patrol. The man was outnumbered 50 to 1, but he kept coming. His rifle fired fast and accurate, dropping bug soldiers with every shot. "That's our ride," Jake told his people. "When he gives us an opening, we move." Danny Miller fought like a man possessed. His rifle ran empty and he switched to his pistol. When that ran out, he used grenades. The bug patrol was confused by the sudden attack from behind. "Now!" Jake shouted. The survivors ran down the hill toward the canyon. Some carried children. Others helped injured people walk faster than they had in days. Behind them, Danny Miller's last stand continued. He was wounded now, bleeding from multiple hits. But he kept fighting, buying time for the civilians to escape. Jake was the last to reach the canyon entrance. He turned back to see Danny fall to his knees, still firing his weapon. The brave Marine had saved them all. "Keep moving," Jake told his people. "Don't let his sacrifice be wasted." They ran through the narrow canyon as fast as they could. Above them, more human ships were landing. The sound of gunfire grew louder as Marines fought bug soldiers across the valley. Lisa Thompson brought her shuttle down at Sunset Ridge just as Jake's group emerged from the canyon. She opened the cargo doors and waited. "Get them aboard," she called to Jake. "We don't have much time." One by one, the survivors climbed into the shuttle. Many were crying with relief. After 3 years of hiding and running, they were finally going home. Jake helped an old man up the ramp. The man stopped and looked back at the burning planet. "What about the others?" he asked. "What about the ones we left behind?" "We're getting them too," Jake promised. As the shuttle lifted off, Jake saw other rescue ships landing across the planet. The human fleet wasn't just saving his group. They were saving everyone they could find. In the caves where Dr. Brooks waited with the 6 survivors, Pete Walsh heard the sound of engines overhead. He hobbled outside and saw human shuttles landing nearby. "Doc," he called back into the cave. "You better come see this." Dr. Brooks helped Maya Singh to her feet. The young woman was barely conscious, but she managed to smile when she saw the rescue ships. "I knew someone would come," Maya whispered. "You did good, kid," Pete said. "You saved us all." As the last survivors were loaded onto rescue ships, the human fleet began its real work. For 3 years, the bugs had thought they'd destroyed humanity on New Haven. Now they learned how wrong they were. The planet's surface erupted in fire as human ships bombarded every bug position. The aliens who had killed 2 million humans were about to pay the price. Jake Morrison sat in the medical bay of the UHS Retribution, watching doctors treat his people. They would live, they would recover, and they would remember. The bugs had made a terrible mistake. They'd left humans alive to tell the story. Now that story would spread to every human world in the galaxy. The hunt was just beginning. Commander Alex Stone stood on the bridge of the UHS Shadowhawk, looking at the dead planet below. New Haven had once been green and beautiful. Now it looked like a piece of burned meat floating in space. "Any signs of life?" Alex asked his science officer. "Negative, sir. The bugs stripped away most of the atmosphere. Surface temperature is -40 degrees. Alex had been hunting Catharans for 2 years. He'd seen them destroy 12 human worlds. But something about New Haven felt different. The distress signal they'd received 3 months ago still bothered him. "Chief Santos, are we sure our cloak is working?" Maria Santos looked up from her engineering station. "The bugs can't see us, sir. We're just another piece of space rock to them." The Shadowhawk was humanity's newest weapon. It could hide from enemy sensors and slip past their defenses. Alex used it to gather information and rescue survivors when possible. "Take us closer to the planet," Alex ordered. "I want better scans." As they moved lower, the ship's computers analyzed everything. Bug mining equipment covered the surface. Huge machines were stripping away rocks and soil, looking for valuable metals. "Wait," the science officer said. "I'm getting something strange. Deep underground. It might be life signs." Alex felt his heart jump. Human life signs? Hard to tell. The bugs are jamming most signals. But there's definitely something alive down there. How many? Maybe 200 or 300 people. They're about 20 miles from the main bug base. Alex turned to Maria. "Can we communicate with them?" "Not with normal radio. Too much interference. But I might have another way." Maria was the smartest engineer Alex had ever met. If anyone could solve this problem, she could. "What do you need?" "Give me 6 hours. I think I can use the planet's geology to send messages." Sound waves through the rock. While Maria worked, Alex studied the bug positions. There were thousands of them on New Haven. They had ships, ground forces, and flying machines. Fighting them would be impossible. But maybe they didn't need to fight. Maybe they just needed to get those people out. "Sir," the communications officer called out. "I'm getting a message from Admiral Mitchell. Priority 1. Alex read the message on his screen. The Admiral wanted a full report on New Haven within 24 hours. She was planning something big. "Maria, how's that communication system coming?" "Almost ready, sir, but I need to warn you. Once we start sending signals, there's a chance the bugs might detect us. Do it anyway. Those people down there have been waiting long enough." Maria activated her new system. It used the ship's engines to create vibrations in the planet's crust. The vibrations traveled through solid rock and came out near the human. Survivors. Deep underground, Maya Singh was dying. She hadn't eaten in 3 days and could barely lift her head. But when her computer detected the strange signals, she forced herself to work. "Jake," she whispered, "someone's trying to talk to us." Jake rushed over to Maya's computer. The screen showed patterns of sound waves. "What does it mean?" he asked. Maya's fingers moved slowly across the keyboard. She was so weak that Sam had to help her type. "It's coordinates," she said. "Someone wants us to go somewhere." Dr. Brooks was taking care of a child who had stopped eating. Too many people were getting sick. They couldn't last much longer. "Who would send us coordinates?" Jake asked. "Maybe other survivors," Maya said. Then she collapsed. Dr. Brooks rushed to help her. "She's burning with fever," the doctor said. "I don't have medicine to help her." Jake looked at the coordinates on the screen. They were for a place called Sunset Ridge, about 30 miles away. It would take 3 days to reach it, if they could make the journey at all. "We have to try," Jake said. "It's our only hope." Elena shook her head. 30 miles? Half our people can't walk 30 feet. This is madness." "Staying here is madness," Pete said. "At least this gives us a chance." Up in space, Alex watched. His engineers work on the communication system. They were getting responses from the survivors, but the messages were weak and hard to understand. "They're trying to tell us something," the communications officer said. "But I can't make it out." Maria studied the signals. "They're sick, maybe dying. Look at how weak these transmissions are getting." Alex made a decision that would change everything. "Send a message to Admiral Mitchell. Tell her we found survivors on New Haven. Tell her they need help now, not later." "Sir, that will reveal our position. Every bug ship in the system will know we're here." "Do it anyway." The message went out across space at light speed. It would take hours to reach Admiral Mitchell and more hours for her to respond. Alex hoped the survivors could last that long. On the surface of New Haven, Jake was preparing his people for another impossible journey. They had no food, little water, and many were too sick to walk. But Maya had decoded one more message from space before she became too weak to work. A single word that changed everything. Hold. Someone was coming. Someone was going to help them. They just had to stay alive long enough. Dr. Brooks was working without rest, trying to keep people alive. She used the last of their medicine on the children, hoping to give them strength for the journey ahead. "How many do you think will make it?" Jake asked her quietly. "Maybe half," she said, "if we're lucky." "And if we stay here?" "None of us." Jake gathered everyone who could still walk. There were maybe 200 people left who could make the EA trip. The rest would have to stay behind with Dr. Brooks. "I won't leave them," she said. "Someone has to take care of the sick. Lisa, you'll die if you stay." "Maybe, but they'll definitely die if I go." Pete stepped forward. "I'll stay too. These old bones won't make 30 miles anyway." Jake felt like his heart was breaking. Leaving people behind went against everything he believed in, but taking them along would kill them faster. "We'll come back for you," he promised. "Sure you will, Captain," Pete said with a smile. "Now get moving before those bugs find us." As the group prepared to leave, Maya opened her eyes one last time. She was too weak to speak, but she handed Jake a small device. "Radio beacon," she whispered. "For the coordinates." Jake took the device. It was warm from her fevered hands. "Thank you, Maya. You saved us all." Maya smiled and closed her eyes. She was at peace. The journey to Sunset Ridge began at midnight. Jake led 200 survivors through the darkness, following coordinates from someone they'd never met. Behind them, Dr. Brooks, Pete, and the others waited in the caves. In space, Admiral Mitchell received Alex's message. She read it 3 times, then called her staff officers. "How long to assemble the fleet?" she asked. 48 hours for a small force. A week for everything we have." "We don't have a week. Those people are dying now." She looked at the star charts. "Send word to every human world. Tell them it's time to fight back." The largest human fleet in history began to move toward New Haven. 800 ships from 23 worlds. They were coming to save 300 survivors, but they were also coming for revenge. The bugs had made one mistake. They'd left humans alive to tell the story. The mountain path was steep and rocky. Jake helped carry an injured man while Dr. Brooks walked beside them, checking his wounds. Behind them, 300 people moved through the darkness like ghosts. Lieutenant Ben Carter brought up the rear with 20 soldiers. He kept looking back, watching for signs of the bug army. His rifle was always ready. "How much further, Pete?" Jake asked the old miner. Pete wiped sweat from his face. "Maybe 2 miles, but there's a problem. The path gets narrow up ahead. Real narrow. If the bugs catch us there, we're trapped." Maya Singh, a 17-year-old girl, was walking next to Sam Torres. She carried a small computer that she'd built from spare parts. Maya was smart with machines, smarter than most adults. "I'm picking up bug radio signals," Maya said. "They're close, maybe half a mile behind us." Jake felt his heart race. The bugs were moving faster than expected. "We need to split up," Ben said. "I'll take some men and slow them down. Give you time to reach the caves." "No," Jake said. "We stick together." "Captain, we both know this is the only way. You got kids and injured people. They can't move fast enough." Jake hated it. But Ben was right. "How many men do you need?" "Give me 15. We'll hit them from the ridge, make them think we're a bigger force. Buy you maybe 2 hours. Dr. Brooks stopped walking. "Ben, you know this is a death mission." Ben smiled. "Maybe. But if I don't do it, we're all dead anyway." He looked at Maya. "Keep that computer working, kid. Someone needs to remember what happened here." Maya nodded, tears in her eyes. Ben picked his 15 best soldiers. Jake shook hands with each one. These men had been with him since the beginning. Now he was sending them to die. "See you on the other side," Ben said. Then he led his team up toward the ridge. The main group kept moving. The path got narrow, just like Pete said. They walked single file along a cliff edge. One wrong step meant a 100-foot fall. An old woman slipped. Jake caught her arm and pulled her back to safety. Her face was white with fear. "Thank you," she whispered. "We take care of each other," Jake said. "That's what we do." Maya was still listening to Bug. "Radio signals. They found Ben's team," she said. "There's fighting on the ridge." The sound of gunfire echoed across the mountains, human weapons and bug weapons firing at each other. Then, slowly, the guns fell silent. "Ben?" Sam tried calling on the radio. No answer. Jake closed his eyes for a moment. Ben Carter had been his best friend for 10 years. Now he was gone. "Keep moving," Jake said. His voice was hard, but inside he felt broken. They walked for 3 more hours. Children cried from hunger and fear. Adults helped each other over the rough ground. Dr. Brooks moved between the injured, doing what she could with the few supplies she carried. Finally, Pete stopped at what looked like a crack in the mountain. "Here it is, the entrance to the lava tubes." The crack was barely wide enough for one person. Pete squeezed through first with his lamp. "It opens up inside." His voice echoed back. "Bring them in." One by one, the survivors entered the tubes. Jake went last, making sure everyone made it inside. The space was bigger than it looked from outside, but it was still cramped. 300 people filled the rocky chamber. "This is it?" Elena asked. "This is where we're supposed to live?" "It's better than being dead," Pete said. Maya set up her computer in a corner. The screen glowed in the darkness. "I'm still getting bug signals. They're searching the area, but they haven't found the entrance yet." Sam tried to work his radio, but the rock walls blocked most signals. "I can't reach anyone. We're cut off." Dr. Brooks found a flat area and started treating the injured. She had almost no medical supplies left. People with serious wounds would die without proper care. A little girl was crying. Her mother tried to comfort her, but the child was scared and hungry. Jake knelt down beside them. "What's your name?" he asked the girl. "Lucy," she said through her tears. "Well, Lucy, I need you to be brave. Can you do that for me?" Lucy nodded. "Good, because brave people like you are why we keep fighting." Elena pulled Jake aside. "Look around you. Look at these people. Half of them are sick. We're almost out of food. This isn't living. This is just dying slowly." "What are you saying?" "Maybe I should try to contact the bugs. Maybe there's a way to save some lives." Jake grabbed Elena's arm. "Don't even think about it. The bugs don't negotiate. They don't take prisoners, they kill humans. That's what they do." "You don't know that for sure?" "Yes, I do. I've seen what they do to prisoners, so has everyone else here." Elena pulled away from him. "You're going to get everyone killed with your pride." "I'm trying to keep everyone alive." Maya looked up from her computer. "The bug signals are getting stronger. I think they're setting up some kind of base nearby." Jake walked to the entrance and looked out through the crack. In the distance, lights moved across the mountainside. The bugs were still hunting them. Pete sat down heavily on a rock. "I'm too old for this. Been mining these mountains for 40 years. Never thought I'd die in them." "You're not dying yet, old man," Jake said. "Captain," Sam called out. "I got something. It's weak, but I think someone's trying to signal us." Everyone gathered around Sam's radio. Static filled the air. Then a few words came through. "Human, survivors, respond." Sam adjusted the controls. "This is New Haven Survivor Group. Do you copy?" More static. Then, "Underground. Hold position." The signal faded away. "What did that mean?" Elena asked. "Someone knows we're here," Sam said. "Maybe other survivors." Maya was typing on her computer. "I'm analyzing the signal. It's not coming from the planet. It's coming from space." Everyone fell silent. From space meant ships. Maybe human ships. "Are you sure?" Jake asked. Maya nodded. "The signal bounced off 3 satellites before reaching us. That's how space communication works." Dr. Brooks stopped bandaging a wound. "Could it be our people? Could someone be coming to help?" "I don't know," Jake said. "But it gives us hope." Over the next few days, they received more signals. Always short, always hard to understand. But someone was out there. Someone was trying to reach them. The food ran out on the 3rd day. People started getting weak. Dr. Brooks was treating malnutrition along with injuries. Maya spent all her time working on the computer, trying to improve their communication. She wasn't eating enough and she was getting sick. "You need to rest," Dr. Brooks told her. "I can't. Someone's trying to help us. I have to keep working." On the 5th day, Maya broke the code. The signals were coordinates. Someone wanted them to go to a specific place. Jake Morrison pressed his back against the cold metal wall of the mining tunnel. His radio crackled with static and then fell silent. The last human settlement on New Haven was gone. 3 years ago, this planet had been home to over 2 million people. Now Jake led a group of 347 survivors hiding in the old Millfield mining complex. They lived in darkness, ate cold food from cans, and spoke in whispers. The bug-like aliens called Catharans had taken everything else. "Captain Morrison," a voice called from behind him. It was Sam Torres, barely 20 years old, carrying their only working radio. His face was pale and his hands shook. "I got the last message from Riverside. They're gone. All of them." Jake felt his stomach drop. Riverside had been their last hope. 5,000 people had lived there just yesterday. Now Sam was telling him. They were all dead. Dr. Lisa Brooks walked over to them. Her white coat was dirty and torn. Dark circles showed under her eyes from too many sleepless nights. "How many survivors are coming our way?" she asked. "Maybe 50, Sam said. "They scattered when the bugs attacked. Some might make it here." Lisa shook her head. We can't feed 50 more people. We barely have enough for the ones we have. Jake knew she was right. Their food would last maybe 2 more weeks. After that, people would start dying from hunger, but he couldn't turn away survivors. Not when they had nowhere else to go. "We'll make room," Jake said. "We always do." The sound of footsteps echoed down the tunnel. Jake grabbed his rifle and aimed it at the darkness. 3 people stumbled into the light: a man, a woman, and a small child. Their clothes were burned, and they had cuts on their faces. "Please," the woman said. "The bugs killed everyone. We've been walking for 2 days." Lisa rushed forward to help them. She always helped no matter what. That's why people still trusted her to be their doctor. "Get them food and water," Jake told one of his soldiers. Then he looked at Sam. "Any word from the other groups?" "Nothing from the mountain camps. The bugs are sweeping through Sector 7 now. They're getting closer." Jake walked deeper into the tunnel where Elena Vasquez was talking to a group of older survivors. Elena had been a town leader before the invasion. Now she led the civilian council in their underground home. "We can't keep running," Elena was saying. "Maybe it's time to surrender. The bugs might let some of us live if we stop fighting." "The bugs don't take prisoners," Jake said as he joined the group. "You know that." Elena turned to face him. "Do we? We've been hiding for 3 years. Maybe things have changed. Maybe we can negotiate." "They're not human, Elena. They don't think like us. They want this planet for themselves. That means we all have to die." An old miner named Pete Walsh spat on the ground. "The captain's right. I've seen what those bugs do to prisoners. It ain't pretty." Jake's radio buzzed. He answered it quickly. "Captain, this is Lookout Post 3, a voice said. "We got movement on the surface. Lots of it. Coming our way." Jake felt cold fear in his chest. "How many?" "Hard to say. Maybe 100 bug soldiers. And they got those flying machines with them." The tunnel fell silent. Everyone had heard. 100 Catherine soldiers could kill them all. The flying machines carried powerful weapons that could blast through solid rock. "How long do we have?" Jake asked. 2 hours, maybe less." Jake turned to face the group. "We're moving out. Get everyone ready. Take only what you can carry." "Where can we go?" Elena asked. "There's nowhere left to hide." Pete stepped forward. "I know these mountains better than anyone. There's old lava tubes deeper in. The bugs might not find us there." "Those tubes haven't been used in 50 years, Elena said. "They could collapse." "Better than staying here to die," Pete replied. Lisa was already moving, gathering medical supplies. "I'll get the injured ready to move. But some of them won't make it far." "We'll carry them if we have to," Jake said. Sam was working on his radio, trying to reach other survivor groups. "I'm getting nothing. The bugs must be jamming all signals now." Jake looked around at the faces of his people. They were scared, hungry, and tired. But they were still alive. Still fighting. "Listen to me," he said in a loud voice. "I won't lie to you. This is bad. Maybe the worst we've faced. But we're not giving up. We've survived 3 years when the bugs thought they'd kill us in 3 weeks. We're still here because we don't quit." Some people nodded. Others just stared at the ground. "Get moving," Jake said. 30 minutes and we're gone." As people rushed around gathering their few belongings, Jake pulled Sam aside. "Can you send one more message to anyone out there?" Sam looked at his radio. "Maybe, but it won't reach far. And the bugs will track it. Do it anyway. Tell them New Haven still has people alive. Tell them we're not giving up." Sam nodded and started working with his equipment. Jake watched the chaos around him. Parents grabbed their children. Soldiers checked their weapons. Dr. Brooks helped an injured woman to her feet. Elena walked up to Jake. "This is madness. We should surrender while we still can." "No," Jake said. "We keep fighting until the end. That's what makes us human." The radio crackled as Sam sent his message into the darkness of space. Jake didn't know if anyone would hear it. He didn't know if there was anyone left to hear it, but they had to try. Pete appeared with a mining lamp and a backpack full of supplies. "The tubes are about 5 miles from here, rough ground. It'll take all night to get there with the injured folks." "Then we better get started," Jake said. As the survivors filed out of their underground home, Jake took one last look around. For 3 years, this place had kept them alive. Now they were leaving it forever. Above them, the Catharan ships circled like vultures, waiting to finish what they had started. But Jake Morrison and his people weren't ready to die. Not yet.